Welcome everyone to another Breathwork session. Let's get right into it. So when we breathe in and out, oxygen comes in, and when we breathe out, CO2 leaves through the nostrils or the mouth. So we've got oxygen coming in on the inhale, and we have CO2 exiting on the exhale. So when it goes through the nose, when you inhale oxygen, so try that right now, feeling the lungs expand, and you're not really feeling the lungs expand. What you're feeling is the diaphragm descend. So try it again right now, inhaling, feeling the diaphragm descend into the lower belly. And then on the exhale, feel the diaphragm come back up. So noticing oxygen coming in, inhale. Exhale, CO2 leaving. So try it again, inhaling, feeling the diaphragm descend, which brings oxygen into the lungs. And then exhale, CO2 is leaving. And so on this next inhale, notice the oxygen coming into the lungs. And then asking yourself, what happens once the oxygen comes into the lungs? What do you think happens? So essentially what happens, we inhale, try it again, inhaling, feeling the oxygen come into the lungs, and then notice how it diffuses into the blood. So when you inhale, oxygen comes into the lungs, and then from the lungs, what's called alveoli basically take the oxygen, absorb it, and then put it into the bloodstream. So just noticing as you're inhaling and exhaling, as the air comes in through your nose, goes into the lungs, and then the little alveoli, which you can't really feel, they're bringing that oxygen into the blood. And so when most people start breath work, they're like, oh, let's get more oxygen. It doesn't work like that. Your blood has a specific ratio of oxygen to CO2. So when you do breathing exercises, particularly hypoxic training, you can play with that balance of CO2 and oxygen in the blood. So let's try it right now. Take a big inhale. Exhale. And then at the end of the exhale, hold the breath. Don't do this if you have any pre-existing conditions. Just hold the breath. Notice the air hunger. Air hunger is really important. I still haven't taken a breath yet. And then exhale. Inhaling. Exhaling. Holding. And really feeling that air hunger just to the edge. We're going to play with the edge of air hunger. And then inhale. Exhale. So really noticing what does it do when we hold our breath. And you can do this at any time. Just make sure to really take care of your own body. So that's CO2 and oxygen balancing in the blood. And so it's not about getting more oxygen. You can do a breath like this. So try it right now. Just try to get as much oxygen as possible. Do you feel? Try it again. So trying to get as much oxygen as possible. And then how do you feel? It doesn't feel that great. And of course, some things take longer to actually feel the effects, but it just doesn't really matter. So try it again. Big inhale. Do you see in my body how there's a lot of muscular activity? Anytime there's muscular activity, it's a waste of energy, unless, of course, you need to use that muscular energy when you're fighting a tiger or a bear. But I can assume that none of you are fighting any tigers or bears at the moment. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to try to breathe as slowly and as gently as possible, using as few respiratory muscles, as few muscles that don't need to be used. So try that now, inhaling slowly and gently. How slow, deep, gentle can you make the breath? How little muscular activation can you make? How slow and gentle can you make the breath, even getting to that same point of air hunger? So that's the type of breath you want to aim for most of the time. You want to aim to not be using any extra energy that you need to. One of the most important things about living a life in a human body is conservation of energy. And one of the biggest ways that you can help that conservation of energy is not getting wrapped up in stupid fucking emotional battles. Really conserving your energy, not getting outraged. Outrage is a huge energy leak. If you need to do something, then do it. But if you're not really going to do anything about it, don't let the emotion take over. Notice that you are not the emotion. You're the one witnessing the emotion. And the emotion is a temporary visitor. It doesn't need to control you. You have agency and influence over that emotion, about that reaction over to that emotion. You can't control your emotions. So let's try that right now. So we're going from oxygen to CO2 now to emotions, and how the same thing kind of applies, basically. So just start to notice, what is the current emotional state of your being right now? What do you feel? Could be anxiety, fear, joy, pleasure. I don't think wisdom is an emotion, but so just could be peace, although peace isn't really an emotion either. So just notice what emotion is here right now. Sometimes it can be hard because oftentimes we repress the emotion. But go ahead, for this moment right now, it is totally safe for you to feel this emotion. And if you don't feel that it's safe to use this emotion, then I suggest seeing a therapist. I can introduce you to people who are good at that. So just, it is safe for you to feel this emotion right now, and ask for more of it. Asking for more of that emotion. Noticing you aren't the emotion, you're the one witnessing the emotion. And then on the next exhale, totally let it go. Inhaling, bringing that sweet, juicy oxygen in. Exhale, letting go of that emotional residue. Inhaling. Exhaling. Inhaling. Exhaling. Now, for those of you who have maintained this level of attention for the last 9 minutes, let's start to move the body just a little bit. You don't even need to stand up, although if you do want to stand up, I highly encourage it. And just start to move the spine. Moving the spine. You have 24 different vertebrae. Feel each one move very subtly, very softly, feeling each of the 24 vertebrae moving. And now I'm going to both educate and hopefully invite you to feel different parts of the spine. So we've got the cervical spine, which is from the back of the head to the thoracic spine. So we'll just focus on that cervical spine. I'm just moving the cervical spine, letting the rest of the spine kind of stay pretty still. Now I'll go to the thoracic spine. Thoracic spine is right here. And now start to move the thoracic spine. And then the lumbar spine is where your back spine is. Just start to move the lumbar spine. There's not much side-to-side movement. There is a lot more forward and backwards movement available to those vertebrae. So just if you do a pelvic thrust, that will move it. So just moving lumbar. And then the hips, just to start to shake out the hips. And shake out the whole body. Hope you enjoyed this. I'm not sure if I'm going to continue doing these. If you are enjoying it, please let me know so that I know it's of value. So have a great day.